Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Well, this is the first episode of what I'm now calling the Entrepreneur Investor Connection. Main. All right. So today I'm also doing it on a Clubhouse. So I'm not sure how to bring them up, but today with Milan and Kaza on the, if you're on the Clubhouse, you want to talk, let me know. Or if you want to jump on the screen, you can always do that too. I could send you guys a link. Um, but today, what I'm talking about today is, again, entrepreneurship and investor connection. Ethereum and Bitcoin, everything's going crazy with these two cryptocurrencies, and I'm trying to connect the dots. I'm trying to show why, like, as business owners and investors, you want to be in this game because, as people are saying, Bitcoin is the future gold, Ethereum is the future oil. And why that is Bitcoin is like a store of value. And of course, you can use it to buy things. And if you look again, connecting the investor and entrepreneurship relationship, Elon Musk yesterday just put $1.5 billion into Bitcoin. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's just because he's a good investor? No, because he knows. What did he say? His business is going to start accepting Bitcoin, where you could buy Teslas by owning Bitcoin, with Bitcoin. So that's why I'm saying, once people like this start putting that kind of money into it, there's no more worry if this is going to happen or not. Like, who gambles with $1.5 billion, right? Like, at the end of the day, this is real. Like, companies are now looking at the money they have in the bank, because if you have a company, you want to have as many months as possible of your overhead in the bank, right? So there's companies with millions and millions and millions of dollars just sitting in a bank account, making nothing, actually losing money. Because if you have your money in a bank account, it's pretty much losing money because of inflation. Every time the government prints more dollars, the money is worth less. So with Bitcoin, the reason why Bitcoin is so powerful is because what they did when they created Bitcoin, and when I say they, nobody knows who did it, who created it, and that's part of the fear. And we could talk about that too. And of course, I invite all kind of questions and stuff on Clubhouse. I don't know why IG Live ain't working, but whatever. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. So thank you for anybody who's watching anywhere. But basically, let's get back to what I was talking about. I want to invite questions. Bitcoin is a store of value, right? But you can also use it to buy things, just like gold. If I wanted to 1,000 years ago buy something, I had to go with gold to the market and pay for it, right? Well, now Bitcoin is heading towards that direction. That's why it's a store of value and you can use it. The difference with what happened with gold was gold has limitations. It's heavy. You got to store it places. You have to, keep it safe physically. It's a physical asset, right? Bitcoin looked to fix all of the problems that gold had. There's no physical asset to Bitcoin. You own it. You can own 1,000,000 of them, and you don't have to store it anywhere. You don't need to physically take it somewhere to buy something. I could pay someone anywhere in the world with a Bitcoin right now, and no bank is involved, no government is involved, right? And that's where this whole Bitcoin thing becomes so powerful. It's basically the money of the future. They're saying the money of the internet. So where does Ethereum and Ethereum come into all this? Why do they say Bitcoin is the future gold, Ethereum is the future oil? The reason Ethereum is so powerful is because Ethereum, what's up, everybody on IG Live? All right, it finally went through. So right now I'm on IG Live, Clubhouse, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. That got to be some kind of record. So basically, Ethereum will power future transactions, just like oil pushes our cars around, flies our jets, everything like that, right? Ethereum has built into it what's called smart contracts. Why that's important is because think about taking a loan. Think about buying a home, right? You have to say, I'm willing to give you this once you give me that, right? Just like with Bitcoin, but with Ethereum, there's something inside of it called smart contracts. What that means is things can be triggered based on both of your acknowledgement of it happening, right? So this is important when it comes to many types of businesses. If you think about it, well, I just saw something actually yesterday. Most of the money in this world is, well, more than all money combined is caught up in loans. So think about whenever you hear like about the national debt, like, right, like these countries owe billions of dollars, but these countries actually make money, right? So what I found out is there's more money being lent than actually exist. So this is where Bitcoin is going to come in, is going to affect business. Think about when I can lend you money or you can lend me money. The big difference of what's happening right now and what's going to happen in the future is right now, only the ultra rich people can lend money. Banks, the families that own that. When Ethereum becomes worldwide and everybody understands it, because it is worldwide, but most people don't understand it and are making companies around it, anybody will be able to lend money to anybody else. So if you think about this, right now, just the 1% can lend money. When the 99% can lend money and make money off lending money, this is going to be a big thing. I had a conversation yesterday with an entrepreneur because a lot of times people are telling me, hey, Miguel, why didn't you tell me to invest in Bitcoin or tell me to invest in Ethereum? And I'm like, I'm creating content all day about it. I'm telling you there, I'm not going to call up every single person I know, but I'm creating content like a maniac trying to tell you guys, jump in this thing. So she was telling me, I wish you would have called me because this is what happened to me. I had 3 Ethereum and I was working on a project where I was paying people through Ethereum. And I didn't have the coverage to pay the person through Ethereum. So, I mean, in cash. So I paid somebody through the Ethereum, something small. It was like when I had the Ethereum, they were like $88 each. And I had to pay this service in Ethereum. I won't get into why. And so I had to use the Ethereum. And this girl, she was like, one of my partners in another business, she was like, I wish you would have told me. I would have gave you the money. I would have lent you the money for the upside of the Ethereum. And that's what Ethereum is going to do. It's going to allow things like that. So what that means is businesses are going to be able to pay people like this, right? So think about this. Whenever you have a project where it's like both sides are scared of getting screwed, so they have a contract, right? So they pay lawyers to make a contract that says, if this person screws me over, I'm going to take them to court. Both sides want to be protected. Imagine if money had that built into it. That's what this is, right? That's what Bitcoin and Ethereum do. Ethereum will create software and different things to allow that. And Bitcoin is a version of it already, but it doesn't have the smart contract, right? It doesn't have these built-in extra pieces. So, of course, I just said a lot. Anybody have any questions anywhere in all these different places I am right now? Jump on. Let's talk about it. But I'll keep going if you don't have any questions. So why do I say it's connected? Why do I say entrepreneurship and investment is connected? First thing I'm going to make sure everybody hearing this listens. Everybody in the whole world is an entrepreneur or an investor. Whether you believe it or not, you are. And I'm going to explain why. First of all, we all have had jobs in our lives. Those companies we work for, have you ever took a job that you got paid less than you thought you deserved? So what were you doing? You invested in that company, right? Think about it. If I thought I was worth $10,000 more than they were willing to pay me a year, I invested $10,000 in that company. Whether I understand it or not, I'm an investor. I didn't get any equity though. I didn't get any stock shares. I didn't get any dividends, right? But I invested $10,000 a year in that company. So whether you believe it or not, you are an investor, but you're not investing in yourself or in things that actually can make you money. You're just investing in the things that you don't even fully understand you're investing in, right? And then if you think about the entrepreneurship side of it, everyone is an entrepreneur and an investor. If anybody has ever had a good idea for their job, for their company. You go and you tell your boss, we should do this. The boss does it. It works. You were thinking entrepreneurial, but you were thinking about it for somebody else's goal, for somebody else's idea and company. Why not do it for yourself? So all the time, I'm going to always reiterate on this idea of every single person is an entrepreneur or an investor, whether they believe it or not, right? So now that we got that, right? Okay, now how can we start using what's going on to start making money? The first thing right now, Ethereum and Bitcoin, if you do not own at least $10 of Ethereum and Bitcoin, it's going to be your fault for what you see coming, because this stuff is going to grow by leaps and bounds. Like if you want to, and this is a big thing about entrepreneurship and investing, you have to start doing your own research, right? Go out, start searching this stuff up. There's people who believe Bitcoin will reach $1 million a coin. There's people that believe this year Ethereum will go up to $20,000. All right. What? Anybody want to on the Clubhouse? You guys want to talk? If not, mute yourself because I can't really hear. All right. And on IG, anybody with questions on IG? So okay. And on YouTube or anywhere, anybody with questions on this stuff, because I know it could be confusing. One, I'm gonna give you some of the questions that people have been DMing me. One of the questions was, can this money just disappear because it's code and who knows who's controlling it? The way this stuff has been created, there's all the types of protections you could imagine. Think about it. If Elon Musk just put in $1.5 billion, do you think that's one of the smartest people on the planet? Do you think he would do that knowing that it could disappear? There's all kind of protections. I won't go into the super technicality of it, but basically this stuff does not exist on one person's computer. The records of everything going on exist on on a bunch of computers across the world. Not every single computer, but millions and millions of computers have records of what's going on. So no one person can steal. No one person can just walk away with $1 billion. Something did happen though last week that I think you guys should understand, because there was news, and this is the awesome thing about Bitcoin. Every time there's news, it rises. Every time there's good news, every time there's bad news, it falls. This is the same thing with the stock market. Look at what just happened with GameStop and all that, right? So last week, somebody said a hacker was able to buy two things with the same Bitcoin. This was wrong, though. What happened was the writers did not understand the technology. The way Bitcoin works is Bitcoin is a record. It's called a ledger, a digital ledger. So what that means is, let's say I pay you $5 today. Only me and you know that I gave you the $5. You may forget, I may forget. But if we both wrote it down on a piece of paper, each of us had this piece of paper in our own homes, we couldn't forget, right? But now imagine, not only me and you had this $5 written on a piece of paper in our homes, imagine 1 million people had that $5 written on their paper in their home. So at one point I could say, I never gave, you can say, I never gave you the $5. So I could look at my piece of paper and you could be like, well, I don't have that piece of paper. And we could be like, okay, do other people have that piece of paper? And they can prove it. So this is where Bitcoin is one of the smartest things that's ever been created. I'm going to give you the reasons why they're saying this is possibly one of the biggest opportunities in our species history. Think about that. Like, literally, people are saying that this is a once in a species opportunity. Why is that? Think about gold, right? Gold was the most perfect form of money for many, many years in human history, right? And then it became physical dollars because nobody wanted to carry around gold, heavy as gold. So what did they do? They said, okay, what are the cons of gold? There's not truly a limit to gold, right? We can mine gold somewhere in the world, find it, and then use it. The value of it is based on it is pretty scarce though. It's hard to find. So what people do is they spend money trying to find it. Same thing with oil. That you're going to start seeing the pieces. So what Bitcoin said was, but it's still not limited. It's still not truly limited. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it so there's only going to be a certain amount of coins ever created. There's only going to be a certain amount of Bitcoins ever created in history. That's major. So think about gold. Gold is scarce here, but what if there's an asteroid with a bunch of gold on it? How does that affect the price of gold? And they've already found asteroids that we can get to within our lifetimes and get like billions of dollars of gold. So how does that affect the price of gold in the world? So they said, okay, that's not a good store of value. That's not going to work forever. Gold is not going to work forever. In this limited mindset of our humanity, gold is good. But what happens when we reach for the stars? So they said we need something more limiting. We're going to create something that's limited. Why they say Bitcoin will be worth $1 million per coin is because of that fact, right? So the idea of one day, think about this. This is why they say it. All the money in this world, all the gold in this world is worth, I think it's something like $800 trillion, some crazy number like that. If we replace gold with Bitcoin and there's only a limited amount of them, and we take that number and we divide it by the limited number of Bitcoin, it's well above $1 million per coin. Right now it's 46,000 or whatever it is. And people are like, oh, that's too much. What you got to understand is this over time, if it's right, because it is a gamble. It is a gamble. Thanks, John. Thanks, John, one of our partners at MetaBronx. All right, there's a question coming in. What about Litecoin and Dogecoin? Dogecoin or Dogecoin, whatever. These are coins that are possible for breakout, but they're not as close as Bitcoin. Bitcoin is by far the biggest leader. These are more gambles. Litecoin, Dogecoin, they're gambles. And you know, of course, I put money in each one just in case, but I really mostly put in Bitcoin and Ethereum because those are the ones that I truly, because here's where, again, it comes back to what I've been saying about entrepreneurship and investing. What you're investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum is an idea, right? Just like you invest in a company, you're investing in an idea. So Bitcoin, the idea of Bitcoin, you should research it and say, do I believe in that idea, right? So I really believe in those two ideas of Ethereum and Bitcoin. Litecoin, I couldn't really tell you the idea behind Litecoin. I need to look it up. Dogecoin, I did look up because it's been so much in the news, right? So what's going on with Dogecoin is same idea of Bitcoin. The major difference is there's two major differences. When you see the word market cap, you see that in stock market and you're going to see it in crypto. Right now, Bitcoin's market cap is massive, right? People like Elon Musk just put $1.5 billion into it. Dogecoin's market cap is a lot less right now, but it could grow and grow and grow. The difference about Dogecoin, though, is the amount of coins that are printed are not limited. They can continue to print more Dogecoin. So just like the American dollar right now, they're printing more dollars. So the dollar value is going to come down and down and down because it's just math, right? Divide the full amount by how many coins are available. So Dogecoin, because again, Bitcoin thought about this the opposite way, because Dogecoin won't limit the amount of coins it creates, the amount per coin will never reach the same amount as Bitcoin because Bitcoin has a limit. And the more people pour money into Bitcoin, the more each coin is going to be worth. With Dogecoin, people could pour money into it, but they could just print more coins. So the amount is going to change, right? And it probably won't go up. It might go down. But people who in the know believe Dogecoin could get anywhere from $5 to $10 a coin. That's not bad if you get in now, right? It's 7 cents or something like that. I think I got in, it was like 5 cents. I know people that got in before it was even 1 cent. So if it gets to $10, that's a good investment, right? But It's a risk. So how you got to treat all of this, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, is a little bit of a risk. But what's happening right now, why it's so important right now, and this is why I'm creating this stuff right now, is you have right now the biggest institutions of the world are putting money into Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's kind of proving out that it's not as much of a gamble, right? Like if Elon Musk just put $1.5 billion into it, that tells me that it's not a gamble anymore. And it told the whole Bitcoin community, because in that one day it grew like 20% or something like that. So it's a big time situation, right? And it's going to grow more and more. I just heard the biggest institutions are going to all follow Elon Musk now because he's an innovator. He did it first. Why is that? Why would they follow him though? Comes back to what I said before. These organizations have huge chunks of money just sitting in the bank, actually losing money right now because the government is printing so much money to give everybody these unemployment and these stimulus checks. So the value of a dollar is just getting chopped. Where are they putting their money? Bitcoin, Ethereum, though, right? So this is why right now, I'm telling you, people are saying this thing could jump, 3x this year. Bitcoin, Ethereum, from what I've seen, here's the low and high predictions I've seen. On Bitcoin, there's people that believe Bitcoin will get to over $100,000 this year. So let's say conservative, it only doubles. How many investments can you double in 1 year? Not many. Ethereum, they're saying, because there's so many companies creating projects around the smart contract, they're saying this year it can go 10 to 20x, right? So who knows? I truly believe that Ethereum will be a thing of the future when it comes to paying people and having code and like businesses. Basically, this is how people have said it. Big Ethereum can be like the Facebook of money. So what that means? You know how people built entire businesses just around Facebook's traffic and kind of like its system? Ethereum, they're saying, is going to be very, very similar. Like you can build entire multi-billion dollar businesses on the Ethereum platform. Now, what's the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum though, right? Ethereum is a system, right, that you can build business on top of. Bitcoin is money. So it's not really a system you can build on top of. It's just you can use it for payment and not. George, what's up? All right, Litecoin is limited to 84 million. So that's the thing. I don't know enough. This is where I'm telling you, as an entrepreneur, you have to think like an investor. As an investor, you have to think like an entrepreneur. And as a regular human being walking around this earth, especially after seeing what we just went through, everyone should be thinking like both, right? You shouldn't be just thinking, oh, my job is safe. I'll have a job. That's the safety net. You have to start looking at all this stuff. These are all entrepreneurial endeavors. Ethereum is an entrepreneur, a group of entrepreneurs thinking of something and going for it. And you are, by buying Ethereum, you're investing in them. They're going to give you a return on that investment because they're giving you a percentage of the value that it grows. Of course, they own a bunch of Ethereum too. And so do the makers of Bitcoin own a bunch of Bitcoin as well. So any questions from anybody? There's a lot of people on. Thanks for everybody who's coming and show me love. Definitely like this wherever you are. Share with anybody you think needs to see it. I'm trying to figure out how to educate and make people buy this stuff now, because when I first started creating videos about this, and I didn't want to in the beginning because I was like, look, I don't know if I want to be that guy that's always like, you need to buy this, because then when it goes down, people get all scared. But when you look historically at the stock market has always gone up and down. But if you look at it historically, it's always gone up. It just has ups and downs as it goes up. If you look at the history of Ethereum and Bitcoin, it's the same thing. If you go back to the early days of the stock market, it was just as volatile because it was new. Eventually, it fixes itself and it stays in a range. And every now and then, there's big drops. Why is that important, though? Because when the stock market drops next time, where do you think everybody's putting their money? Bitcoin and Ethereum. And how long ago did we have the last stock market crash? It's 2008. We're well overdue for a stock market crash. If you have money in Bitcoin and Ethereum, when that happens, your stuff is going to grow tremendously, because what they're going to do is move the money there because it's safer there. There's no government controlling it. There's no bank in the middle, right? Now, one thing you do have to understand, though, is when you take the money out, you are going to pay taxes. So you can't think this money's just, safe, and whatever I want to use it, I just take it back out. So if you put in 1,000 and it becomes 10,000, you're going to pay taxes on that 9,000, just like any other investment, right? This is why, again, I'm trying to get entrepreneurs to think like investors and investors to think like entrepreneurs. So if you just have a regular job and you're like, how do I get involved in this? What do I do? And I've had people today, literally off my post, they were like, all right, you know what? I'm going to listen to you. How do I start? What I would tell you to do to start is put $20. $20 in Bitcoin, $20 in Ethereum. And just start seeing how every day it goes up and down, and start seeing how that makes you feel. Because there's certain people that can't handle it. They'll see it go up and then they see it go down. And like, I got to get out. I got to get out. You got to understand your own personal, tolerance. Risk tolerance is the word, right? So maybe if you are a little less risk tolerant, don't look at it every day. What I tell people is put money in there and say, I can't touch this money for 20 years. Because in 20 years is when they're saying Bitcoin is going to be worth maybe not $1 million by then, but in the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's 40,000 right now, 45. If it's worth even 100,000, that's 3 times your money. There's not many investments like that in the world. The stock market, they say every 10 years it doubles your money. If you do it right, too. Most people don't get that. If you do it right, every 10 years, the stock market will double your money. Bitcoin could double, triple your money in 1 year. Not to say put all your money in there. All right, so there's any questions? All right. I tried to ride the AMC bandwagon too late. Lost nice chunk of change. This is why I'm like, all right, I need people to understand both sides of this. As an investor, I knew right away once GameStop and all that was in the news, regular people were going to get screwed. Why is that? Because they always say, if the public is high on it, don't buy. The public is low on it, buy. Right? So right now, I know I'm kind of talking on both sides of my face, right? Because I'm saying public is high on Bitcoin, why buy it? I knew when GameStop went to the public and everybody started talking about it, those people are going to figure out a way to get their money out and then screw over the regular person. Again, Bitcoin, they worked a way into it where that won't happen to you, because so many people are involved in Bitcoin. So many will have to take it out for it to go down in value. It's like not happening. Look at $1.5 billion. Do you think Elon Musk will put $1.5 billion into something? And he even said, I'm going to take it as payment for Tesla. As an entrepreneur, you would think, why would you accept a form of payment that's so volatile, right? If I give you, let's say a Tesla costs 45,000, and I say, here, 1 Bitcoin for Tesla. And then tomorrow, Bitcoin goes down to 20,000. Then that Bitcoin I'm left holding for the payment of the vehicle is not enough, right? But he knows it will grow. He knows it. That's why he's saying, I'm willing to take Bitcoin. Give me your Bitcoin, because I know it's going to be worth 10 times more one day. And you give me that cash or Bitcoin, whatever makes sense to you. But I'd rather I know I want Bitcoin because I know the future of it, right? That's at least what he was doing by doing that. All right. So, all right. Daniel says, I sold my ETH around August and kicking myself. See, this is the thing. I know a lot of people that had Bitcoin super early. Literally, I saw Bitcoin, it was 30 cents. I didn't really understand it, and that was my fault, and I kick myself all the time. But I do believe that if I would have got in, I probably would have cashed out by now too. I know people that were in at that early time, and they bought all kind of stuff with the money once it went to like 4 or 5,000, because they thought, hey, I got in when it was 30 cents. Now it's $4,000. I'll get out. Think about now how much they're kicking themselves too, right? So this is why I say put it in there and forget about it. Use it kind of like a retirement plan, not as a come up, because you could pull it out, but you're gonna feel real bad if when you're about to retire, you're broke and you're like, man, that Bitcoin would have been worth $3 million right now. I could have retired, right? So I don't see it as something to buy just for a quick come up. I see it as a long-term buy and hold. Ethereum and Bitcoin. Dogecoin, I may be a little bit more on a if it jumps, sell it, because I don't know if I believe enough in Dogecoin yet. But I haven't, as an entrepreneur and investor, I haven't dug deep and looked and try to understand the full understanding of Dogecoin. There's been pieces that I've been looking, I'm like, oh, I don't like that about it. I like that about it. At the worst case scenario with Dogecoin, though, is people will accept it as currency eventually. And if you bought it right now when it's 5 cents and it's worth $5, then you basically just bought, a lot of money that you could use for like next to nothing, right? And this is another piece that I like to make sure people understand. It's not like this stuff goes from 40,000 to zero, right? Or even with Dogecoin, it's not like it goes from 5 cents to 9 cents to zero. It goes from 9 cents to 7 cents, back to 9 cents, down to 6 cents, up to 9. So you're not going to lose all your money if you even get to that point where you're super scared and you just got to pull it out because you're worried. You won't lose all of it, but maybe, I don't want to say never, because Dogecoin, I don't know. I really don't think that's going to happen with Bitcoin, though. Enough big institutions are putting money in now. And when Elon did that, he knew what he was doing. When he put $1.5 billion into it, he said, look, I'm telling the entrepreneurship community, I'm telling the investor community at the same time, get on this ship because this is the future. And he's at that level where everybody's going to look at that and say, whoa, if he's doing it, I need to at least look at it. So that's why I was like, you know what? This is the perfect time to start explaining this connection. Like, there's a super connection between entrepreneurship and investing. So any questions from anybody? There's a lot of people on. I want to make sure. I know somebody has to have a question on Clubhouse, Facebook, YouTube. Somebody got to have a question. Nobody? All right. I'm going to still think about some of the questions that people have asked me then. How can I buy Bitcoin? All right. I've made videos about this, but I'm going to say it again. If you have Cash App, you could buy it right now. And that's another big thing. You can buy and sell Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all this crypto 24 hours a day. Major difference between that and the stock market, though, right? Stock market closes at 5, people go home. Again, a limitation, right? Versus I can buy at 12 o'clock at night on a Sunday, Ethereum or Bitcoin. So if you ever feel like selling it, you can sell it. You'll get your money however you buy it. So Cash App is one way. Coinbase is another way. Robinhood is another way. I have links if you don't have any of that, because if you use my links, you'll get extra money. I'll get money and you'll get money. But Robinhood, if you already have it, you can do it. Cash App, if you already have it, you can do it. Coinbase, I know most people don't have Coinbase because it is mostly a crypto thing, but you could do it there too. The easiest, I think, from everybody I've spoken to, most people have Cash App. So on Cash App, you can do it right now. Like, you just jump in and buy one right now. You could also, what I'm doing is I set weekly buy. So like, it'll buy a certain amount at the same time every day. I mean, every week. You can set it every day too, depending on how much money you want to put in. But I do a weekly buy just because I don't care the ups and downs. I just believe that $20 one day will be $2,000. So I'm just putting $2,000 away with 20 every weekend, every week. So that's my idea of it. And then the way I see it is, as a business owner, how can I start incorporating this stuff into my future projects, right? Not only into my future projects, but also into the bank accounts of my companies, right? So if I have money sitting there for all kind of things, employees, myself, and it's just sitting in the bank, now I'm looking at it and I'm saying, should at least 10% of that go into Bitcoin? Because that could really change my business. Because if I put 10%, let's say let's do the math. Let's say the overhead of your business is 10K a month, and you have 3 times of that for 3 months. Let's say you have 6 months of it, 6 times 10K, 60K. Let's say you have 60K in the bank for 6 months of your business. That money is sitting there in the bank making 0.01% a month. Say you put 10% of that into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it doubles in a year, which last year it tripled, right? Actually, in 6 months, it 5-6 times. Like, I was making videos this summer telling people buy Bitcoin. It was $8,000. It's $45,000. That's 5 times. So imagine if I would have took that 60, put 10% in Bitcoin at that time, and I would have 5 times that 6,000. That's $30,000 from that 6 that would have just been sitting in the bank making me nothing. Actually losing money because they're printing up so much money. That's where what Elon Musk did, he put in 1% of Tesla's market cap. So basically they're worth however much. He said, all right, 1% of that I'm putting in Bitcoin. And I'm accepting Bitcoin, because here's another huge thing about Bitcoin. Every time more people buy Bitcoin, the value goes up. I'm not telling all of you to buy Bitcoin just because it's for my health. When you buy Bitcoin, you make my Bitcoin worth more. And this is going to keep happening. The next person that puts $1 billion in, it's going to raise all of our Bitcoin's value. The only time is when people take it out. But think about what Elon did. He didn't say take it out and pay me cash. He said pay me in Bitcoin. Keep the money in Bitcoin, because the longer it's in Bitcoin, the more valuable it is. So, all right, question. Do you think it's too late or too expensive to start mining Bitcoin? There are 3 million left. See, there's 3 million left to be mined of 21 million that will ever be made. So, no, if there's any Bitcoin left to be mined, this is the real math you have to do. How much is going to cost you to mine that Bitcoin? Because right now, let's say I told you it was going to cost you $40,000 to mine a Bitcoin, because there is the machine you have to buy. There's the electricity you have to buy, because, mining a Bitcoin is basically having a computer sit there all day. And what that's doing when it's mining, just so you get super technical, mining is the ledger. It's basically taking on all this information and keeping it on that computer. And as a reward for you doing that, they'll give you a Bitcoin. So by doing that, you basically got to run a computer 24 hours a day, and it's a powerful computer. It's going to cost you a lot of electricity. So you have to do that math. And it's not like it's going to come out in one day. These Bitcoins, the genius of it is over time, they become harder to produce until the end when you can't produce anymore. So right now, it takes much longer to produce a Bitcoin. So it could take you, 12 months to produce a Bitcoin, and you're paying however much in that light bill and all these different things. And it's going to be a cost benefit analysis. I know people that have Bitcoin mines, basically rooms and factories of Bitcoin, of Bitcoins being mined, and they move based on the electricity bill every season. So I know people that have them like in China, and then certain times a year, the electricity is really cheap in a certain part. So they move the entire factory to that part. And then when it gets a little more expensive, they find a cheaper place to move it, because the amount of cost is high to mine a Bitcoin. So you want to understand that price. And again, this is entrepreneurship, right? Talking about investing in a Bitcoin mine, you got to understand the business around it. What are the costs? What are the true costs? Because you may not know it, and you buy this machine and you think, oh, I'm going to make $1 million of mining a few Bitcoin. But you could really go into debt because before that mine is active, you're paying a serious light bill. You got to pay for that machine. Last time I remember, those machines cost like $10,000-$15,000 just to buy the machine that will mine the Bitcoin. Then you talk about the electricity. It's a large cost, but there's people doing it, so it definitely makes sense. I just depends on your pockets, right? Because if you could do it and you could afford it, again, this is how it works, right? People with money make more money. Scared money don't make money. So any other questions? Any questions from Clubhouse, from IG? I got questions from Facebook, YouTube. Anybody else? All right. So if there's no more questions, I'm not going to do the hour thing anymore because I know nobody watches for a full hour. But if there's any questions, I'll stay on. You know, I think this is important. I think this is probably like one of the best ways as minorities to come up, right? Like we've never even been, it's never been possible for us to be in a situation like this where we get to participate in this type of upside. So that's why I do this. You know, I'm from the Bronx. How many people talking about financial literacy with hoodies on that say the Bronx on them, right? At the end of the day, I see this like I've always seen technology. Technology is the equalizer. We can come up through creating the next Facebook. What about creating the next money and being involved in the next version of money and being able to lend money and be able to do all the things that made the richest people in the world rich? And we could be in that game. It's still the start of this. That's the big thing. Like people feel like, oh, I missed the boat. I know one investor, he's super rich. And he's like, you know what? I'm not doing Bitcoin. I feel like I missed the boat. And you know, from when? From when I told him he should buy it when it was around 6,000. I was like, look, you're rich. If I were in your shoes, I'd be buying as many Bitcoin as I could right now. And he's like, oh, you know what? I'd rather buy real estate. And I'm like, sure. And now it's 46,000. He calls me like every day, like, I should have bought it when you said it, but I'm not buying it anymore. And every time it goes up, I text him, told you to buy it. He's like, no, it's a principle. It's the principle of it. And I'm like, but you're pretty savvy. You understand that if this thing gets to $1 million and you didn't want to get in at 40, you know, but I guess when you have a certain amount of money, it doesn't even matter, right? And he's definitely there. So, but for us, people like me and you, it could really change our lives, right? If let's say you didn't take my advice and you just took it out when it was worth 500,000, but you only put in, let's say 15, 20,000 over 2-3 years. That is huge. That really could change people's lives, right? Like, and that's where it's like, the more I want to talk about this stuff, but I don't only want people to think it's a get rich quick scheme, because it's not. At the end of the day, it is a project. It is something you have to invest time and understanding, just like any investment, really. Like anything you're going to put your money in, hoping to get money back, you should try to understand that as much as possible, right? And I'm going to keep creating stuff around investment opportunities because Bitcoin is one, and Bitcoin is probably one of the biggest to ever be available. But you see what just happened with GameStop? There's things happening right now, and I'm lucky enough to be in these meetings. And I'm going to bring them to you as soon as they're available because I can't talk about them, but there's things being made right now where, think about Facebook. The people who made the most money on Facebook are the people who invested in it early, right? Just like Bitcoin, just like everything. People that invest in things early make the big return. There's a lot of laws being passed that will allow people to be in on things like that earlier. I posted something today. If you put $1,000 into Facebook 11 years ago, you have like 9,000. If you put $1,000 in Netflix, you will have like 26,000. If you put $1,000 10 years ago into Bitcoin, you'd have $600 million, right? So this is where every month you take not to get in, you lessen the amount of multiples your money can make. And of course, there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs, but look for the downs and buy in the downs. Because I'm do your research. At the end of the day, this is what they tell me to say. I'm not a financial advisor. Everything I say is just what I'm doing and people around me are doing. Up to you to take that, research it, and do it yourself, and understand what you're getting into, really. And there's going to be a lot more opportunities like this. How do companies set themselves up to take Bitcoin? So right now, it's in my opinion, the way it works is there's a bank account for banks, there's a wallet for Bitcoin. So, to be honest, John, I don't fully know, but after Elon just did what he did, everybody's looking into it, including me. So what I've seen stuff like Shopify. Shopify will take Bitcoin. So if you created a Shopify store, you can accept Bitcoin. It's one of the options is Bitcoin. So it's kind of like a payment processor. You need a wallet to accept the Bitcoin in. And once you give people that code and they can easily use it, and that's where wallets like Coinbase, Cash App, and all these things exist now. Early on, you had to have like a memory key that you plug in and you have a code. And that's why a lot of people lost. It was like a huge code that you have to remember. There's people that lost that code, lost that drive, and they had millions of dollars on there. But then they created these apps, these wallets that are just on your phone through an app, through a login, and you manage your money like that. The difference though is you don't truly own the coin in those apps. Just like in Robinhood, you don't truly own the stock when you buy Robinhood. Robinhood buys it for you, gives you the money, and they pay you out. Same idea with Bitcoin and these wallets, right? Coinbase buys the Bitcoin for you, they pay you out, but they hold the Bitcoin. And as it grows in value, your money grows in value, but they hold the actual asset. There's people though that want to own the actual asset, and by doing that, you have to have it's called cold storage. You take it off and it's on a drive with code with a huge password. But that's risky. That's risky. You lose that. You lose that hard drive or that code, and you're screwed. At least with a Coinbase, a Cash App, you can reset your password and you won't lose it. So that was a good question, John. Any other questions? IG, you guys are quiet. There's a lot of you, but you're quiet. Clubhouse. Anybody on Clubhouse? Any questions? All right, no other questions. That's what I missed on AMC. Look, at the end of the day, part of what I'm going to start doing again, I don't know how often I'll do it, but I'm going to start coming on here and explaining the connections of things. Right? At the end of the day, what is going on with Bitcoin and Ethereum is we all have the opportunity to be early investors in it. So just like I just gave you the example of Facebook. When Mark Zuckerberg was creating Facebook, he went to rich people and said, look, if you give me $1 million, I'll give you a certain amount of shares for that $1 million. Early on, those shares were worth, let's say, $1. I don't know what they actually were, but they were like nothing because early on, you take money at a smaller value. Now, Facebook is worth hundreds of dollars per share. So think about it. They gave him $1 million at $1, and now it's worth 500, 600. I don't even know. Think about how much money that is, right? So this is where getting in the earlier, the more value. It is more risky though. You can wait. And this is why this is such a big deal. When Elon Musk put that $1.5 billion, he basically put the stamp of approval and told the whole world, this is real. If I'm willing to put $1.5 billion in, you know I'm not stupid. This is real. So right now, it's like, what else do we have to see as early investors to get in? Because I can't really see a downside other than it goes and it drops. It has big drops, but it always comes back up. And now with all these big institutions putting in money, I'm seeing there's a movement where the billionaires of this planet are taking 3% of their net worth and putting it into Bitcoin. Think about that. Right? And they're getting in before you and they're richer than you. So they're going to make a lot more money than you, right? And That's crazy. You have the opportunity to get it. And there's still a lot of people who don't believe in it. You'll see like certain people like, yeah, I don't believe in that. That's why it's a little bit of risk. They may be right. Other people may be right. But it's up to you to decide by researching it yourself and thinking about it as a business. Do I believe in this? Do I think people are going to do this? Do I believe, also what's my time horizon? How long do I want to hope this makes money, right? Let's say I told you I'm going to keep the Bitcoin in for 10 years and then sell it, no matter where it is. That is a plan. That's why it's called personal finance. Only you can make those decisions. People call me all the time, DM me, and they're like, what should I do? And I'm like, well, whatever you want to do. I don't know. Like, I can't tell you what to do with your money. They're like, yeah, but if you were me, what would you do? That's still a very loaded question. I don't know what your job safety is. I don't know what your overhead is. I don't know what your retirement plan is. I don't know your risk tolerance. So how could I tell you what to do, right? I know mine. I know I'm never retiring. I know I have a high risk tolerance. So for me, putting money in Bitcoin, it's cool. I know I can go out and earn money if I need to. So I'm not worried. I'm not looking at it every second. When it dives, I'm like, oh, let's buy more. So I'm much more of a risk taker than most entrepreneurs kind of have to be, right? But again, who's taking a bigger risk? Here's how I'll break it down to you. There was a study. There was a study that found 1 in 5 CEOs is a clinical psychopath. Think about this. 1 in 5 CEOs. Imagine this. Most of your life you spend at work. If you look at the hours that you sleep, you work, you spend with your family, you spend more time working. Imagine giving most of your life to a 1 in 5 potential psychopath. Who's taking more of a risk, right? Like at the end of the day, you're taking a 1 in 5 risk that you're giving your entire life to a person who is clinically a psychopath. But why not give yourself some of that chance? Create a side hustle. Start investing, right? Don't rely on just one form of income, one version of financial, freedom. If you just have a job and you think that that's safe, you do not see what happens every 10 years and people just lose their jobs. I have a lot of people right now who are worried they're going to lose their job. And they're like, so how do I invest in Bitcoin if I'm going to lose my job? And this was like when this first happened. And I was like, look, you have money in the bank, right? Just put a little bit in Bitcoin. You just never know. If they would have done that, think about how much more space they would have with their financial freedom, right? Like if you put $1,000 into Bitcoin when it was $8,000 and now it's 45,000, that 1,000 turned to 5. That could really change how many months now you are safe while you look for another job, right? So this is where I know I told you buy and hold, but if you need it, you could take it out. You're gonna have to pay taxes on it, but if you need it, it's there, right? So it's not a true 100% risk, right? So to me, I just look at it as my duty as a person that sees what I see and sees what rich people see what I've seen as kid growing up in the Bronx. We never were taught about this stuff. I didn't even know about how the stock market worked, right? I don't want that to happen with this. This is the new version of money. We have to be involved in this. We have to understand how this works. New businesses are going to be created on the backs of this stuff. If we are just the consumers of it, we're just repeating history and we're going to stay at a position. But if we look at it and say, all right, how can we GameStop it? How can we, as minorities who we set culture, we the ones who make things hot, how do we take advantage of this? And it's possible. It's possible. Imagine the next Dogecoin that's created by us, because that's what these are. These are all projects created by people, by groups of people. And then they get market cap, just like a stock market stock. And eventually the coin gets to be more in value. But we could do that. We could do that with stocks of companies. We could do that with stocks in the stock market. We could do that with stocks in coin, right? So this is where it all connects, right? But how do we do that? We have to pick good. Like I posted something with Jordan Belfort. He was like, I love what happened with GameStop. I just wish people did it with things that were better companies. GameStop is going out of business because they've picked a bad business to be in at this point in time when physical locations are not as much of a thing. The video game industry is going to downloads. So physical, going to buy a physical game, it's not a good business to be in. Again, investment and entrepreneurship, right? So if you think about that and you say, am I going to invest in GameStop right now when I know as a person, people are not going to want to do that? People are not going to want to go to a store and exchange a game. You know what I mean? Like, why would you exchange a game when you could just download it, right? If you could download it for like this on PlayStation, whatever, or Xbox, and you don't got to go to the store and catch COVID, looks like you're going to do that, right? So you got to think about it and you say, what would I do as a business owner, even though you're not the owner of that business? If they're not doing it, why invest in them? You have to think about it as I'm investing in a business, in an idea. So when I put my money down, it's not about, can I double it, triple it? Do I believe in that business? Do I believe that business is going to grow? That's where you put your money in, right? And the earlier you do that, the more return, right? And this is stuff that I did not fully understand, even when I was in the stock of early stage startups. I would pitch this to investors, not fully even understanding what I'm telling you right now. We're pitching, hey, you want to give this company $1 million because one day it's going to be worth 10, but not really fully understanding all the mechanics around it, right? Now I'm starting to see both sides. I get to be on both sides. So I'm like, people should really understand that. Even if they're not in my world, they are. They still are. In some way, you are working in a company. You're investing your time. You do have money that you buy an Apple Watch with or an Apple earbuds. If you put that same money in Apple stock, you would be making money on that money instead of just losing that money to the Apple iPod or whatever it is. So this is where it's like, me as a person that's doing Airbnb, I'm buying Airbnb stock because I believe in that business. I don't care if I think it's going to double, triple, but I know I'm going to use that business. And I know many people around me are using that business. So I'm going to invest in that because I believe it's going to grow. And again, this is how you got to continuously look at things, all opportunities, stock, cryptocurrency, which is what Bitcoin and Ethereum all is part of, and startups, right? Startups are pre-Wall Street companies. And if you invested $1,000 in Amazon when it first went IPO, you have $1 million now. Think about the people who invested in it before it even went to IPO. This is what I'm saying. And this is what's now we have the opportunity to invest in things before they reach the explosion point. And that's where we are with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and there's a lot of startups that I'm going to show you that we can do that with too. So on that note, I was not even planning to go for an hour today, but it is what it is. Thank you for everybody who came by and watched. Any questions, DM me. If you know me, text me. But yeah, I think we're in a crazy time, and I'm really excited about where all this stuff is going. So thank you for everybody who came and watched, listened. Truly appreciate your time on a Tuesday. Follow my YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube. I'm trying to grow that because YouTube is one of the best places to really send out information. Thank you, John. Check me out on Clubhouse. I want to grow on Clubhouse. And of course, check out my podcast because the podcast is one of the few things that all you got to do is listen to it and it makes me money. So thank you. And of course, sign up Mass Ideation Academy. This is a new thing I'm working on. I'm helping people individually make their business ideas happen. So right now I have a cohort going. We got multiple people doing amazing things. I'm going to start showing them to you, and then I'm going to launch another cohort. So I got a lot of stuff going on. Stay tuned. Angel, what's up, my man? Thank you for everybody on IG, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Clubhouse. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Bye. And the podcast, whoever listens to the podcast. All right, bye.